Hello everybody, my name is Bradley Cooper and I'm one of the officers of the Bucks County Libertarian Party. And one of the biggest crises that we have in this country right now is our energy crisis. Now, if you listen to the mass media, they'll give you two main reasons that you'll continuously hear constantly on why the price of gas is so expensive. The first reason is because of the pandemic and that more people are being comfortable getting out and driving and manufacturing being halted or slowed down severely. And because of the demand getting more and less manufacturing, that's why the price is going up. The other thing that you hear them talk about is the Russian-Ukraine war that is going on. Now, if you go on social media, you'll see some of the dumbest, idiotic, moronic things relating to this energy crisis that we have. You'll see posts shared around in the realm of if you're willing to stand in a line, maybe in a drive-through or in the store and buy a $4, $5, $6 cup of coffee, you shouldn't complain about the price of gas. Or if you have a vehicle that's not fuel efficient and is a gas hog and gets like between 8 to 15 miles per gallon, you shouldn't complain about the price of gas because you're part of the problem why the price of gas is going up and is so high in general, because you have to fill up more and because you use more fuel than most other people do and you're filling up more constantly. You need to then have more supply made to suffice for the inefficient vehicles and the vehicles that are efficient, and making sure that there's enough supply for you. So that's why the price of gas is going up, because there's more of a demand because of all of these vehicles that are not fuel efficient. Now, if you go on there and tell somebody that it's because of Joe Biden, his decisions, his mandates, his leadership, and his administration, they make fun of you, they laugh at you, they criticize you, they call you names because they don't want Joe Biden to be looked at as the problem, or Joe Biden to be the cause of all these energy crisis problems that we have in this country. Now, if you go back to the beginning of Joe Biden's presidency, when he first got into office, one of the first things that he did was use an executive order and shut off the Keystone Pipeline. Then some people that were governors and congressmen stepped up and started screaming because they said that you're killing thousands of people's jobs. You're hurting production of energy in this country and just shutting it off. Then, shortly then after, he got us back into the Paris global warming deal, which Donald Trump got us out of. Now, when Donald Trump got us out of it, people made a big stink about it, the environmentalists. Joe Biden did the exact same thing to cater to the environmentalists, criticized Donald Trump, made fun of Donald Trump, and told him that he's an idiot, that he's a conspiracy theist, that he's anti-global warming. Now, Joe Biden doesn't look at the bill, doesn't see what's inside of the bill, and doesn't even care what's inside of the bill. He wants to make people believe he's all about global warming, cares about global warming, and wants to fix it with the rest of the world. Whereas Donald Trump doesn't hate global warming, doesn't say he doesn't believe in it. He is just made to be that way because he got us out of the Paris global warming deal, because Donald Trump looked at the bill, saw how other people were living up to the requirements inside of the bill and what they were doing to fix their ecosystem and go greener, and the money that they were getting to use to be more green and eco-friendly. And he saw that America was getting screwed, that they were not getting the same deal as other countries were. We were getting the raw deal and the bad part of it at the end, because like most big bills or agreements or organizations, America is usually the one that spends the most amount of money to fund it. Like the WHO, America spends the most amount of money to fund the WHO. So Donald Trump got us out of the Paris global warming deal because the bill and the deal did not benefit America. Then we had an issue down in California with our shipping ports, where ships were in the Pacific Ocean for days, weeks, and even months because they couldn't release the load off their ships because of the backlog and all the problems they had down there. So Joe Biden appointed Peter Buttigieg, and if you don't know who he is, he was one of the guys who ran for the presidential nomination under the Democratic ticket. He was nominated to do the transportation fixing down in California because California port is what gets about 70 to 80% of all of our goods from those ships and then gets transferred throughout the country. Also, he's supposed to work on transportation issues all across this country on a vast amount of different things. When he was asked, when the energy crisis first started to become an issue, he was asked about the gas prices getting higher and what they're trying to do to combat that. And you know what his answer was? If you bought an electric car, this would all not be a problem. Basically telling you that if you don't own an electric car, deal with the problem. Then Kamala Harris was interviewed about the same subject, and she was talking about how she's all goo gaga for electric cars, how she's the electric car guru, and just gets all giddy and witty for electric cars. Joe Biden even came out and said that I drove the 1,000 horsepower Hummer that is coming out shortly, and it was a crazy, wild experience like nothing I've ever experienced before, and that this is the future in automobiles. Then, while gas prices were still going up and up and up towards Christmas time, and people on different news outlets all across this country were saying that the price of gas is causing them hardship because they can't afford it, but they're trying to make ends meet with what's going on in this country. We had an issue with the Iraqi war, and we got messed up in that war. People knew what was going on, didn't do the right thing. It was just a whole mess that Joe Biden screwed up, that we've been fighting for over 20 years. He screwed up in a matter of 6 months. That made oil and gas and our energy prices go up because of the conflict in other countries. Also, while the days and weeks and months prior to the Afghanistani war and post the Afghanistani war, Joe Biden slowly started shutting down all offshore and onshore drilling, all fracking, and put a ban on any new pipelines being put into the ground or made for this country. So now, instead of being energy independent, which Donald Trump made us, and we were one of the most independent energy countries in the world, now we're energy dependent on other countries. So what Joe Biden did when it became a hot button issue that our gas prices are getting too outrageously expensive, some states paying like $4, $5, $6, where other parts of the country are paying $3.50. Joe Biden went to OPEC and started screaming at OPEC, telling them that you need to produce more for America. Then we got into the Russian-Ukraine issue that we have now, and the war that is going on there now. Joe Biden and his intelligence committee knew that there was a great chance of Putin invading Ukraine. He knew about this months before it happened and basically didn't do nothing. Basically really didn't go out of his way to stop that from happening. Really didn't go and yell and scream at Putin. Now, at the same token, because of how quickly Joe Biden screwed up the Afghanistani war, no leader like a Putin believes Joe Biden is a strong leader. They look at him as a weak leader. They look at him as having no backbone. Someone who lives in the basement of their mother's house that's running this country. So they don't fear anything against Joe Biden. They don't have any scaredness towards him. They look at him as a little scaredy cat. So all Joe Biden did was put some type of tariffs and a slap on the wrist to stop him from doing that. Then, because we get so much oil and gas and all of our energy from all over the country, Putin invades Ukraine, which we kind of knew was going to happen because nobody in the NATO agreement, like America, really stepped up and helped the Ukraine military, their government, their civilians. our energy crisis went even higher, went 10, 15, 20, 30 cents. In the matter of weeks, it was up, 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 up. And they were saying, because of the war in Russia, that we got to deal with this. We got to deal with the consequences of the war that we can't stop. And Joe Biden even said, we're not going to get involved in that war heavily because we could start World War III. So we're just going to let it play out however it's going to be. And we're just going to put tariffs and bans and slap him on the wrist to affect his economy. Hopefully that would deter him from continuously fighting this Ukraine war. So, because the price keeps on getting higher, and we're getting close to none other than election season. You know what some of these Democratic politicians and governors proposed to do to try to help the cost of our fuel? They said that we want to get rid of the gas tax in our state, and we want to propose getting away from the gas tax nationally. So I live in Pennsylvania, and my governor, Tom Wolf, proposed getting rid of the gas tax in the state of Pennsylvania. So let's say gas in my state is $4.40. Well, we have the highest gas tax in the country, and it's 60 cents. So he wanted to get rid of 60 cents off that price. So now it would be $3.80. Now, according to what I read, the national gas tax is 10 cents. So Tom Wolf and a lot of these Democratic politicians tried to propose getting rid of that too, to get 10 cents additional off the price of gas. So then in my state it would be $3.70 average. That would be their solution, because they know that so many people are pissed off and angry at the way that these Democratic politicians, Joe Biden's leadership direction and his executive orders caused us so much problems and didn't benefit us, didn't help us, didn't make this country any better, just hurt the pockets of the people and caused us more stress, aggravation, and problems. So now we go forward to some of the BS that people want to say is causing the problem, want to criticize you for doing this and that. First off, why should I have to live my life based on the price of fuel? If somebody is offering me a product and I like that product, why do I have to be criticized because I want to buy a $4, $5, $6 cup of coffee? Second of all, I understand that when you use more, you need more. I totally understand that working in the automotive field. But to criticize somebody because they drive a inefficient vehicle that gets 12 miles to the gallon or 15 miles to the gallon, it's wrong and terrible to do, because what about the people that can't afford another vehicle or stuck driving an inefficient vehicle because they're poor or can barely make ends meet? What about the people that need a truck or an 18-wheeler to do their job? They don't design the truck. They don't design the 18-wheeler. They're not engineers. They don't make the miles per gallon and how efficient the vehicle is. They got to buy whatever's available on the market. The most common bought truck is an F-150. They have never been very fuel-efficient vehicles. They've always been fuel inefficient vehicles. They never really got 30, 40 miles to the gallon. It's not till recently have we gotten the Ford Maverick and the Ford Lightning. Has there been a truck that's been somewhat fuel efficient? So you can't criticize somebody because they need a vehicle to do a job, and a sedan or a hatchback or a coupe cannot suffice doing the same thing a truck can. Second of all, on that notion, to tell somebody that needs an SUV because a sedan or a coupe is not big enough for them, that they have 3 or 4 kids and have to buy an Escalade or a Suburban or have to buy a Ford Explorer, that car doesn't get good miles per gallon, that you're the problem with this country, gas and energy problem that we have, and the price being so high. So now you're telling people that they shouldn't have had a family, that they shouldn't have created 4 or 5 kids in their family, because if they didn't do that, they wouldn't need this inefficient vehicle, and they could have bought a sedan or a hatchback that got 25, 35, 45, 55, 65 miles per gallon. That it's their fault because they decided as a couple to create kids of a number that needed them to have an SUV, or they needed an SUV for a number of different reasons or whatever. So to tell somebody how to live their life because it inconvenienced you, instead of looking at who's causing the problem, how did we get to this point and what's the solution of it, you just want to point fingers at people that had no control over the price of gas, have no way of fixing it, and have no way of making what you need any cheaper or better. That is a crappy thing to do, because all you're trying to do is cause animosity and cause more issues or problems that we don't need in this country or whatever. Instead of looking at the problem, which is Joe Biden, his executive orders, his administration, his leadership, and the people that are in office causing this problem, and they're the ones you should be yelling at, not me, not the guy next door or your friend or brother or sister who drives a Subaru or a Honda that gets 50 miles per gallon, and the other guy has a 15 mile per hour, I can't even speak because I'm so mad, a 15 miles per gallon vehicle, and he's a piece of crap, but your sister that drives a Prius is a great person, is a shitty thing to do, because he's not the problem, Joe Biden is.